Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 28 of the Spring Snowflake podcast. My name is Sophie. You can also find me as Sophie Swan on Instagram, and there is also a Spring Snowflake profile over there as well for this channel. It's warm today, and hence the reason why I'm downstairs in one of the coolest rooms of my house with no studio lighting, so I apologise if the sun mucks up with my lighting, but literally this is the only way I'm getting through this. Oh dear, it's so much fun. South Oxfordshire today is, shall we check the weather? Shall we do weather report? It is, actually it's only 24 degrees. Yesterday was worse. It got up to 32 yesterday. I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit. I'll put it down there. I am filming on my new setup. I have a new camera. I have a new microphone. I have a boom pole. Honestly, I'm all types of profesh right now. I have a new camera. My Canon G7X Mark II basically just annoyed me enough that I looked into trading it in, and my lovely husband offered to bankroll a trade up rather than trade in. So I am now filming on a Sony a6400, which is part of their Alpha series. It is a mirrorless camera, whereas the Canon G7X is a point and shoot camera, so I have traded up. This thing is like, you can interchange the lenses and stuff. I know, swish. So we'll see what it's like, shall we? All I can see at the moment in the screen, which is above you, and that's why if you look really carefully, you can see that I look above you rather than straight at you. So I'm looking straight at you right now, and this is me looking at the screen. Okay? I apologise. I don't know why, but I have to be able to see myself. Anyway. So yeah, this is a step up, hopefully. On the screen I can kind of see there's a blocks that moves around my face every time I move, and it's really quite cool. I'm such a nerd. So I will be spending quite a lot of time on Skillshare over the coming weeks, learning how to basically use a mirrorless camera and use it to the best of its ability. So we will see. On with the admin. You can support the podcast one of two ways. I have a Ko-fi account, which is basically if you want to buy me the equivalent of a coffee, because we're not doing that in person at the moment, then the link is down below. If you wanted to support the podcast in a more regular way, I have a Patreon account. We have a lovely little group over there, and as part of one of the 3 tiers, you always get 48 hours early access to this podcast. Every tier gets a monthly sip and stitch meetup. It could, most of the time, well, the last 2 we've done has been evenings, but we could do it in the daytime. I tend to put a poll out a week before with 4 or 5 options. Then as you go up the tiers, the middle tier is also entered into a quarterly giveaway, and then the top tier gets extra content from me, at least one vlog-ish or sit-down video a month. Last month, obviously, my lovely understanding patrons didn't get a podcast because it's been almost 2 months. It probably has been 2 months since I podcasted, and I'll explain a bit more about that in Life Update. But I have some lovely understanding patrons. So if you did want to support us, come over and join us there. Show notes for this podcast will also be hosted on my Patreon site. You have the option to basically just post things as public straight away as well, or with... So for the 48-hour early access, when that 48 hours is up, that post then becomes public. So that's why I've decided to put the show notes on there. Thank you to my lovely crochet friends for letting me brainstorm that slightly with you today. I'll explain why I'm moving them again in a sec. The other bit of admin that I wanted to just say right up front is no one's ever actually commented on this to me on these videos, but I know that I speak quite quickly. So there's two things kind of that there's one that I'm trying to do, and there's one thing that you can do if you find me talking too fast. Firstly, I am trying, which is why the podcasts take a little bit of time between filming and publishing. I am trying to go into the auto-generated subtitles that YouTube creates when you upload your video, and I'm trying to edit them so that actually it's an accurate representation of what I say. The other way that you can slow me down is literally slow me down. There is an option within the play function of YouTube. I don't know if app users can do it, but there is an option to speed up or slow down a video that you're watching on YouTube. So do make use of that with me and all your other favourite podcasters if we're just a bit too fast or a bit too slow for you, okay? So that's a handy tip that actually Faye from the Crochet Circle podcast said in her last podcast, and I'm passing it on to you guys too. Any other podcasters who watch me, I know there's a few of you, pass it on to your ones as well, because actually the more people that we can get watching and enjoying our content, the better, isn't it? So awesome. Right. My show notes are here on my iPad. So that's the kind of podcasty admin-y stuff. Next, I'm going to move on to something which normally I'd probably put at the end of my spotlight section, but it deserves to be at the top. 2020 has been, and I apologise in advance for any swearing that happens in this podcast, but this is probably going to be a swearing-heavy podcast. So if you do have delicate ears in the room, I wouldn't let them listen. I'm not that bad, but yeah, you know. Anyway, 2020 has been a bit of a clusterfuck, right? We all agreed with that. Yeah? Good. To add to the fact that there is a pandemic and a virus that is basically ravaging our globe, as if that wasn't enough, right? We've had Black Lives Matter come to the fore again, which it should have done. It should be anyway. If you are long-term viewers of this podcast, you know that my stance is, if you're not welcoming to everyone, you're not welcome here. And by that I mean, actually in more strong terms, if you actively disregard the fact that there is discrimination and there are people who are treated as less than you because of, and not exclusive to, gender, colour of their skin, their origin, their ability, their gender, their sexual orientation. There are more, and I cannot think of them. I have a long list. If those who are treated as, no, if you don't recognise those who are treated as other are treated as other, either you need to sit up and listen, or you need to go away. Thanks. It is very, very important to me that you understand that where I come from, the point in which I come from is that Black Lives Matter, Trans Lives Matter, those who class themselves as disabled, or actually don't, but are less abled because of certain aspects of their person, it's important to recognise that they are treated as other and support them. So, Black Lives Matter, period. Trans Lives Matter, period. J.K. Rowling is not a friend of this podcast. Yeah, the more I read about it, the more I realise that actually Harry Potter has some very problematic things in there. And to make matters worse, it's so annoying, it's laughable. Ravelry, who we saw as the most inclusive space on the internet for knitters and crocheters, is now being ableist in the worst way. So, without going into too much about it, and I will talk about life after Ravelry actually in my spotlight section, there is a lot of stuff on the internet, Twitter and Instagram. If you wanted to find out more, search the Ravelry accessibility hashtag. You'll find the whole backstory. Basically, the new website change has affected a lot of people in incredibly hideous ways. I would say actually some life-threatening. And the response has been lacking. Yeah. And the non-apology that came out yesterday, day before, was lacking. So, yeah, you will find no links to Ravelry in our show notes. You will find no links to Ravelry, my Ravelry group anymore. My account was deleted this morning. I really do hope that they sort their shit out. But I am not prepared to support that website anymore. And I will find and I have found other means of carrying on how I deal with projects, my yarn collection, my pattern library, my podcast group. I'll talk about that later. Yeah. There are other ways. So life after Ravelry is happening for quite a lot of us, I think, actually. I appreciate that there are a lot of people whose lives are completely inextricably linked with that website, particularly those who run their businesses through it. And I am not expecting anything of anyone, but that's my response. My response is, I don't want to support that place anymore because they don't want to support those people that they've harmed. Okay, content. So I am currently running an along within my Mighty Networks community. So we have moved from the Ravelry forums onto a website called Mighty Networks. Now, those of you who are also subscribers to the Crochet Circle podcast or follow Louise Tilbrook will have seen that that Faye and Louise have also started their own communities on Mighty Networks. It is a very nice system. It feels friendly to use. I have no issues with it right now. We've been over on Crochet Circle podcast for just under a month, I think, and Louise Tilbrook moved over last week. She's actually closing her Facebook site called Everyday Knitter, so it's huge. She's calling it Unzuckered, which I think is brilliant. So I'm on there, and I will pop a link in the down bar below and also in the show notes on Patreon. But if you just search for a Spring Snowflake, you can find us. And if you search, then I have to let you in. If you use the link, it goes straight in. So on there, we are running an along called the Lesser Spotted Garment Make Along. Lesser Spotted Garment Make Along. Or the hashtag is Lesser Spotted MAL. This is a make along which is running from the 1st of March to the 1st of September. And it is for those garments that are, in essence, lesser spotted, those that are not very massively popular, that no one, it's not everyone and his wife is making it. Anything crochet goes, because we need to elevate the crocheters. Anything that is slightly weird construction, knit or crochet, sideways construction. I've had someone who's done the magpie tendency. That's Alice, isn't it? Yes. I've had people making up their own patterns, which is really cool. So there was stuff on the Ravelry forum, but unfortunately that now doesn't count because it's gone. Although actually the group might still be there if someone wants to check. I can't see it because I've deleted my account. But yeah, so if you had put anything in those chatter threads, then please do put them into Mighty Networks in order for you to be counted towards a prize. I'll also be drawing from Instagram from the hashtag as well. I have had a few lovely people offer me prizes, so I'll be going through those at the end of this month because we are in August, people. Oh my God, it's the 1st of August. What the hell? This year is just... Anyway, I am also co-hosting, we say that in very loose terms because I haven't actually done anything yet, the Creature Comforts Cal, which is a craft along with Gemma from The Midnight Diary. She was the Project Bag, she's now The Midnight Diary. And that is where you make a garment that refers to any kind of creature. That includes minions. We agreed that includes minions. I'm not sure on the end date of that, but it is currently going on. It started on the 1st of July, so we're a month in at the moment. I was crocheting something. It was actually a test, which I'm now no longer part of, mainly because I wasn't enjoying myself. So I'm very much in a cut my losses type of mood right now. Isn't that fun? So I was doing something, I'm now not doing it, but I'm about to start a test for the last unicorn sweater for Megan of Bad Wolf Girl Studios, which should count for the Creature Comforts Along because it has unicorns on it. I'm making the small person one for her. Well, probably a Christmas present actually by the time it comes. The pattern is due for release in October, but I'll hold it and give it to her as a Christmas present. Okay, I think that's the alongs. Okay, finished objects. Obviously, you haven't seen me for 2 months, month and a half. I have no idea when the last podcast was filmed. Anyway, so there's been a few FOs, not that many, because my crafting mojo, hence the reason why there hasn't been a podcast, has been all the issues, all the anxiety, just meh. That's been my general mood, has been meh. Normal life, yeah, I've been all right. Like, Amelia was at school, back at school for a little while, which was really nice. And now we're in holidays and we've had a visit from my mother-in-law and I'm getting into life update. But yes, shall I just show you the FOs? First one is a hat. I am not putting any of these things on. This is the Minted Hat, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. Let's see if this is the first time we're testing out the autofocus. Oh, look at that. Oh my God, that's amazing. Come on, Mrs. There we go. So this is the Minted Hat, which is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. It is, it was her weekend cal that she does every year, where she releases a hat pattern or a couple of hat patterns, and then you have to you are challenged to knit it within a weekend, a long weekend, Friday to Monday. So this was hers for this year. It is a DK weight hat, and I made this out of the project bag, now the Midnight Diary, DK in the colourway Hops. This is a really special colourway to me because it refers to hops, as in the plant that is the main ingredient for brewing beer, which Kent, which is my home county, is very famous for. So this makes me happy. This is very much a kind of nostalgia, makes me smile type thing. So yes, it's the DK is beautiful. It's really squishy. It's this gorgeous tonal green, and well, semi-solid? No, semi-solid. I would call it semi-solid rather than tonal. And then I finished it off with a removable popper from Cowling Country Crafts, which means I can change up if I wanted to. So this is Cowling Country Crafts, and she does some lovely faux fur pom-poms. I'm not going to put it on. I will pop a picture in of me wearing it. Oh no, do you know what? I'll pop a picture of Amelia wearing it because it's a much nicer photo. Yeah, I really enjoyed making that, and I did do it within the cal, which is always good. Next FO, I think I'm doing this in order of when I finish them, is some socks. You've seen these. I'll just show you one, and then there are two. These are, I showed you these as a work in progress. These are the No Fear shorties, substituting the heel for the New Depths heel by Becky Sorensen, also known as Soprano Knits. And the yarns are from my 12 Days of Christmas charity box, which was curated by Helen of Giddy Yarns last year. That is going live tonight at 8, and I really hope I can get another one. It's the same die as taking part this year, and the theme is sweets, Christmas sweets, I think. This was Christmas, this might have been Christmas chocolate actually, or just chocolate. No, because that's fruit salad, this one. So maybe it's sweets again. Yeah, because this one's lollipop. And this one's cinder toffee. So yeah, sweets. There we go. Sweets again. But yes, I'm really happy that I have made these up. It's a lovely, lovely pattern. The No Fear Shorties is by Denise of the Earth Tones Girl podcast. She did a massive series of videos about how to make these socks. You can also buy the paid for pattern. I think it's only available on Ravelry, so I won't link to that, but I will link to her YouTube playlist so you can see. it's a free YouTube series, so you can technically get the pattern for free. I chose to buy it to kind of compensate her for her work in making these. Really nice make, really quick because there's only 12 colours. So it's the New Depths heel. I did 15 rows of 1x1 rib. I wish I'd done 1x1 twisted because I prefer the look of that. And a rounded toe, which is the same toe from the pattern. Really like them. I've worn them once, I've washed them and blocked them again because I wanted to make it pretty. So there is a bit of fluff going on, but it's not too bad really. There we go. So there's a bit of fluff at the bottom, but it's not done too badly. What I would say is actually the rainbows and the Smarties have definitely faded since washing. So, right. Second FO. Third FO. Oh, those went into the May Mini Madness Cal, which Sharon ran and has now finished. Was a test. Here starts all the tests. This is the Axiom shawl, which is yet to be released by Stephanie Erin. Stephanie Erin is a Canadian designer. It is a Tunisian crochet shawl. This thing is hot because the green, if I show you, if I give you a bit of a close up, the fluff is alpaca fluff from It's a Stitch Up. Susie got this to me so quickly. I chose to use, this yarn, the thing 4-ply is Third Volt Yarns Companion 4-ply, which is 100% merino, in the Cosmic Turtle colourway, which is a reference to the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett, which is one of my favourite, pretty much my only sci-fi fantasy series that I like. That is Cosmic Turtle. This is actually called my Discworld shawl because of it, and I have entered it into the Crit and Knit Cal, which is being run and will close at the end of August by Hannah of the Corner of Craft, because it's sci-fi fantasy themed. So it's called the Discworld shawl for me. The pattern is the Axiom shawl. The fluff is Suri alpaca lace from It's a Stitch Up. Susie got this to me really, really quickly after I decided that was the colour I needed. It was actually the last yarn I ordered before I went on a yarn ban. So there, I've been on a yarn ban for quite a while now. It does not include my clubs or any Christmas yarn that I purchased. But everything else, I'm not just buying random skeins of yarn at the moment because there's just too much in my collection. So yes, the Axiom shawl will be out soon. Stephanie has pushed back a couple of her releases. So I will... this is going up on my Instagram, but it will probably be rehashed again when she is at launch date. Really, really, I wouldn't say it's relaxing because you do have to keep an eye on the stitch counts, but it's a lot of fun to make. It's basically lots of short wedges, short rows in Tunisian crochet, and it's a lot of fun when it's finished because you get this beautiful semicircle, and it's going to be warm in the winter. So that is the Axiom shawl. Have I told you everything? Yes. My last FO is not knitting or crochet. It's this little nugget. This, I finally... basically, there are two reasons why I've gone back to spinning. Remember when I went and did that spinning class, that drop spindle class at Southern Wool Show last year? Southern Wool Show has been finally cancelled. I think they were the last UK show to be holding out to try and open this year, and they finally said no, we're not doing it. But yeah, I went to a drop spindle class last year at the Southern Wool Show, and I tried it, and then I did about 75 grams of this BFL, which is what I spun up in the class, and then I tried to ply it, and it all went horribly wrong, and I just threw everything into a bag and just went, no, not for me, thanks. And then when I went on the yarn buying ban, I went, I'm going to give it a try, because actually I could buy fibre. No, it's never a good thing to give me loopholes. Anyway, so I tried it, and actually I really enjoyed doing this. This is 25 grams, so it's not a lot because I wasted 75 grams and a half of Blueface Leicester. It's very thick and thin. It's set, so it's had its bath. You can see that actually for the most part it's super bulky. There are bits that are very tightly spun, there are bits that are very not tightly spun, but it all holds. And actually for my first ever handspun, I'm really blooming proud of that. It's only 10 metres, so there's not much I can do with it. What I might do is make up a granny square, and then for each subsequent spin that I do, I'll make a granny square in it, up to the size of whatever this gives me. And then eventually I'll just have like a hodgepodge blanket of all my spins, and you'll be able to see how I grow as a spinner. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Anyway, I think that's everything that was on my little... Yeah, 25 grams. It's a 2-ply. I need to get used to the spinning, like, lingo. 25 grams, 10 metres, 2-ply, super bulky. Yeah, it's a super bulky. So yes, I will get this crocheted up now and have that square waiting for when it has a friend to come join it. I did this on the spindle that I got as part of the class. I have since bought another drop spindle as part of one of the online fibre fests. I can't remember which one. No, can't remember. Beautiful kind of jade. No, it's like a blue stone. Well, it's lovely. Much smaller than the one I have. I've also bought a couple of other spinning accessories. I'll show you now. This is a Niddy Noddy from Faye of the Crochet Circle podcast. It is a small one. She has these made for her by a company, I think, in Ireland. And I've put a little bit of washi tape on there to tell me how one round of this Niddy Noddy is 110 centimetres. Yeah, 110 centimetres. So yes, that's my finished objects. Works in progress. One thing I haven't realised that I haven't told you is what I'm wearing. I am wearing crochet. It just happens to be jewellery. This is my Maliqua wire pendant that I won as part of one of her giveaways, and the matching earrings have gone to my sister up in Edinburgh, she's, again, life update, but she's just got a 2-1 in her degree, and I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her. She's also just been accepted onto a master's, which is epic, because I think we all as a family were slightly worried about her job prospects in a pandemic, and I feel in the work that I do, it's blooming hard at the moment for those who are graduating with very little prospects, because people are being made redundant left, right and centre at the moment. A lot of graduate programmes aren't running this year because they literally couldn't do the graduate test centres. So there'll be some, I think, that when lockdown is a bit more eased, then actually maybe there'll be new graduate programmes starting up in January or Easter. But this year's graduates, it's hard. It's really hard for them. So I'm so proud of her for getting herself onto a master's. So it does mean she's staying in Edinburgh for another year. I'll just have to go up and see her at some point. I doubt that EYF will be on this year. We'll see. I doubt it. But maybe Shetland will week. Or Perth! Although she'll already have left by then. Oh. Maybe she'll just stay in Edinburgh. If she stays in Edinburgh, Rose, I'm coming to sleep on your sofa when it's Perth next year. Thanks. Okay. Whips. Today is full of tangents. Sorry, guys. Whips. So, as I said, I was doing a test and now I'm not, so that's been frogged. But I am doing one other test, which is, well, it's not in here at the moment, but has been living in this. Oh, here we go. Unicorn bag by So Beautiful by Nicola. It's really cute little kind of, I would say up to 2 skein bag. This has been holding a garment. You'll see why in a bit. So I have been testing the Jinx vest for Verity of Truly Hooked, and it is so nearly done. It's so nearly done. The straps are done. They are pinned. Can you see I'm using a pin badge? That's hilarious. They're pinned because I need to just check with Verity that that's the where they should be. and I am on to the border row, which is a lace row, and it is in dye candy cloud lace. So the alpaca fluff is quite prevalent in this episode. I have done it as a fade. It is majority actually Verity's yarns, Verity's minis. But there are also some Wild Rose yarns. There's some Mothy and the Squid. There's an unknown. There's an unknown in there as well that I got as part of a prize package, I think, last year. I think that's it. I don't think there's any other dyers in here. I'm looking at it and going, oh god, I can't even see where the joins are in the end. I started off just alternating skeins and doing kind of, I think you can see, actually you can see better here, alternating skeins and kind of doing individual row kind of rounds and then changing them over at the increases on the side where these eyelets are, and then I went, do you know what, you'd have a much easier time if you just helical knitted it, and that's what I've been doing. So the last probably, let's have a think about this, probably about from there downwards I helical knitted, just so much easier to manage all the ends, and I think actually gives a far more seamless, it's upside down now, but far more seamless kind of fade as you go down. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. It is a lot of just mindless knitting, which is good when your brain isn't really working very well. The lace, I am determined to finish this weekend, but the lace has been slowing me down. But I just love this yarn. The multicoloured yarn at the bottom is called Unicorn Massacre, hence why I had to put it in a unicorn bag, because my mind's a bit weird. So I'm knitting this on, here we go, 4mm higher steels. This is kind of my backup set. Normally I go for Chow Goose, but actually I don't mind using the high cables when it's for a garment. If I'm doing things like Magic Loop, I much prefer the Chow Goose cables because they've got a bit more strength to them and they don't kind of go woo everywhere. It's just a lot of fun. Where's the beginning round? So you've got this fun eyelet detail at the side with the increases. It is very much you can't see it at the moment, but you've got this kind of sweetheart style. So you start off knitting flat and then you go in the round. And it is going to be kind of a trapezium shape, so it goes out like that to the bottom, so it'll be kind of floaty at the bottom, which I really like. I've really enjoyed it. I like testing for Verity anyway because she's very quick on kind of getting things to you. She's got a lot of tests out at the moment, so I don't know when this will be out as a pattern, but I've very much enjoyed doing it. So hopefully this will get done by the end of the weekend, and then it can be blocking. And I can put some pictures up on Instagram and do an FO post on my Patreon. Yes, that is the plan now. Because I won't have project pages to refer you to, what I will do is, as things are whips, I will put a lot more info and probably a picture of them in the show notes. We'll see if Patreon lets me do that. And then as things become FOs, I'll do a separate post about them and all the information, yardages, things like that, that you would normally find on a Ravelry project page, so that people can see kind of what I finished and I can then also refer back to it. That's my plan anyway. Next whip is living in my Little Grey Girl for Bear in Sheep's Clothing pyramid bag. It has my Bear in Sheep's Clothing pins on it, my little bear with his kilt, and then the Gin and Bear It pin. In here is a frog. Currently he looks like a green cookie monster because he's armless, but I just love his little lip. You can make him sulk. I'm such a child. This is a frog pattern by Rebecca, who is also known as the Pigeon's Nest. She sells her patterns on Etsy. She also sells these as ready-made as well. She is fabulous on Instagram. You need to go and check her out. She does something called Pigeon Portraits, which just brings me life. And she's a just downright amazing human being. So the cowl that's going on at the moment, which runs until the 7th of August, is called Don't Frog the Frog cowl. And you'll recognise this yarn because when you have a yarn colourway that's called hops, you need to make a frog out of it. I also have an arm. Wait a minute. You need to make a frog. I'm such a dork. Yeah, so his eyes are done. His body is done. One arm is done. I have got 3 more fingers done, and I think on the hook I have the start of another arm. Yes, I have the start of another arm. I will pop a photo here of what it will look like. But yes, I sent a picture of 3 different types of yarn to Rebecca when I said I was joining in, and I said which one, and she chose this because just the semi-solid nature of it would, yeah, it just, and do you know what? I agree with her. It looks hilarious and very frog-like. Look at him, Corky. I'm such a dog. Anyway, so yes, I want to finish that by the end of this weekend too, if I can, because all I've got is 6 more feet, 6 more toes, the rest of that arm and 2 legs to go. That's it. That's all I've got. I can do this. Jinx first, then the frog. I'm gonna finish stuff. Right. I have no idea if I'm in shot or in the same shot or whatever. Anyway. Interruptions. So, Kaz from Wooler did a crowdfunder for her rookie cushion kit, and where's the thing? That is what it looks like. Let's see if that's gonna. Yeah, we go. And as part of the Kickstarter crowdfunder, you had different levels, and then when it was all done, she gave lots of options for colours. So I went with navy for the kind of super fat colourway, which is the chunky yarn that you are crocheting around, which is 100% merino, I think. Yeah, 100% merino, 250 grams for 50 meters plus, super fat she calls it. And then for the 4-ply I went with, and I cannot remember what this is called, neon rainbow, I think. If I'm wrong, I will. But yeah, very, very lovely speckled merino nylon 4-ply yarn. Yeah, 400 meters, 200 grams. And this is where I am so far. So eventually it will cover a it will cover a cushion. I'm really enjoying just working on it, mindless crochet of an evening when my brain just can't handle anything other than this. But I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, you can see those pops of neon in the 4-ply. It was either this or the other way around. It was going to be the neon. Oh, I can't remember what it's called. Oh, I'll put it down below. The super fat in the neon speckles, and then a navy for the 4-ply. But I'm hoping there'll be some of this left, and then it can go into something else. I'm assuming there'll be some of this left. Yeah, that's how I kind of made that decision. Was will I want to use up neon speckles, or will I want to use up navy blue? And navy blue obviously would be great for contrasts, but yeah, it's really cool. It's a really nice construction. You're basically just going round and round in a spiral, and I'm really enjoying it. So yes, hopefully that will be done by the next time I podcast, depending on when that is. It comes in a drawstring bag with Kaz's logo on it. Okay, lastly are my 2 blankets. Let's go with the Advent blanket because that has had quite a lot of work on it. I'm now into the yellows. And I have stopped on this at the moment because I'm going to assess all the DK that I've got and use some of it to go into my test for the last unicorn, because there is a rainbow collar. So I'm hoping I've got basically the rainbow colours that Megan uses in hers are pink, neon pink, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Yeah, 6 colours in that rainbow. And her colour for the main colour is pink, a different pink. The lovely Gemma at the Midnight Diary is dyeing me up some and sending them to me as a gift, which is just so sweet of her. Yeah, the yarn buying ban is buying. People can still send you yarn, which is nice. So yes, this is where I am at with the... I'm not going to unfold it because it's huge. Where's my stitch marker? Actually, I might unfold it just to find the blooming stitch marker. It's on the other side. Oh, where is it? Where's my ladybird? There it is. So, last time I showed this to you, I was here where my ladybird from the corner of craft is. So I've done a fair whack. My stitch is being held by my hide and hammer stitch marker. And I am well into the yellows now. And I've got lots of yellows in my hide and hammer bag, ready to go. Some kind of, the last one will probably be this kind of golden orangey yellow. Yes, one of my fingers is pink. Small child. That's what I'm saying. This is being housed in my hide and hammer 03 roll top bag that I got for my birthday from my in-laws. So yes, the advent blanket is going well, but it is stopping right now until I see the yarn that Gemma has dyed up for me. Oh, I love it. And then match some rainbow colours to it that don't clash too badly. Okay, last blanket is my square a day. I have stopped on this. I don't know why, I'm just not feeling the love right now, so I'm going to, rather than doing this as a square a day now, I've just taken the pressure off and I've gone, it's just going to be cozy memory, so every time I finish a 4-ply project, leftovers are going in here. So that's the plan. There's ends galore. I'm up to date with my clubs going in here, so they have got stitch markers. This was the last... Oh, the lighting's gone. Great. This was the last Irish Artisan Yarns, which was Wild Atlantic Way. These are my new stitch markers from Yarnistry, which are glittery dinosaurs. I love them. So yes, that was Wild Atlantic Way. And notice, the dinosaurs are colour coordinated to the squares, because type A. I have a few other kind of bits in here, but then I've also got my Giddy yarns from last month. I've got the other ones, the new ones to show you in this month. So I've got some more dinosaurs and also the Women in Science stitch markers from Yarnistry. These are the 1950s colours. Wait a minute. Yeah, 1950s. This is the 1950s Nostalgia Club from Giddy Yarns. Which is in, so I'm up to date with those. I've got a couple more sets that I got, so these are the noodles. This is Noodle Soup Yarns, 5 set in Sparkle. Dyer's Choice, I think they're called. And then, oh, Cozy Memories. This is Cosmic Turtle from my Axiom shawl. There we go. Which does have the word clusterfuck on the stitch marker. Love it. These you can actually get custom made from Yarnistry. So I got my 2 favourite swear words, which is clusterfuck and cockwomble, made into. And this is Sea Glass from Mothy and the Squid, which is the last colour that went into my Jinx Fest. So definitely very much cozy memories. And that's what I think I'm going to do. It's just... There's a small person behind my camera. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So yes, I'm not going to do this as a square a day anymore, because I'm being kind to myself basically now, because pandemic, pretty much. So yeah, I will drag this out when I have more to add to it, and once it's big enough for me, it will then become finished. Pretty much. Yeah, just don't need the pressure of it right now. The bag that it is living in though is new, and this is by So Can Joe, and look at the fabric. Now I will insert a picture to give you an idea of just how big this this bag is. This can fit a small child in it, as demonstrated by my kid. It can actually fit both my head and her head in it at the same time, because that was another thing she demonstrated as well. Haven't got a picture of that. Yeah. It's a big bag. Look. I'm not putting my head in it now. But yeah, it was lovely. It was a lovely gift. Jo has donated a bag to the podcast. It doesn't look like this. She sent me two and let me choose which one I wanted to keep. And obviously, weather fabric. So there is a bag that is one of the prizes from So Can Jo. So Jo does not make to sell. She is a fabulous bag maker, but she does not make to sell. So if you get a So Can Jo bag, you are very lucky. And I feel very lucky. Thank you, Jo. New things. Let's move some stuff out of the way. Okay, so new things. Now, I don't make a habit of showing my underwear on the podcast, but I received something. We're going to have background noise. But it's knit fabric in a bra. So I bought a Molka bra. In fact, I bought one last month, in a different fabric, and then the knit ones came back in stock. So, yay! If you haven't tried Molka bras and you're not in the UK, try them. They are made in Scotland by a bunch of lovely ladies, and they are so comfortable. You will not regret it. They're expensive, but they're good. Right. Okay, clubs. So, if you haven't received your Irish Artisan Yarns club for this month, which is Ring of Kerry, look away now. Love it. I'm not going to describe the colours, but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. And then, if you haven't received your Giddy Yarns club for this month, which is the 1960s, and this just came through my postbox today, so there will be people who haven't had theirs yet. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, look away now. I've put them back down again, but I will tell you what they are, so if you don't want to listen, then give me a minute. So we've got the Very Hungry Caterpillar, the Beatles, Moon Landing, Doctor Who, and the Fab Ice Lolly. All of which I know, so I actually think I know which ones are which is quite cool. Right, that's that. Lastly, in terms of new things, I got a bag. Now, why? It's a knitting and crochet podcast, Sophie. Why are you talking about a bag? Well, one of the things I like talking about in here is handmade. And this is very much the definition of reuse, reduce, recycle. This is a bag by Elvis and Cress. Facebook marketing actually got me for this, and is what they call the camera bag. It's called their Fire and Hide camera bag. Now, Elvis and Cress, they rescue London fire hoses. So London Fire Brigade hoses, when they come to the end of their life, they rescue them and they turn them into bags. So this strap used to be a fire hose. And you can tell because there's like little markings on it. There it is. Yeah. You see? And the bottom's the fire hose. And then the leather is actually offcuts from the bag making industry. So they work with the Burberry Foundation and use the offcuts to weave them into large pieces of fabric and then create bags. Really cool. I'm really loving this. And everything is basically, everything is reused. Parachute silk on the inside, gorgeous. You're never going to lose anything in that colour. Even the little information booklet that comes with it is printed on 100% rescued tea sack paper. The other reason why I love them is because they're in Kent. So, yeah, they even have an ME postcode, which is where the ME postcode is where I'm from. So, Medway postcode. I'm not from Medway. I'm from Maidstone. Anyway, but yes, I had to show this because it's just... Oh, that zip's so good as well. It does smell of fire hose. It smells rubbery, but I don't care. Actually, it fits everything I need when I'm going just on a little outing. Even if I'm taking Amelia with me and I just take a spare pair of pants for her just in case of accidents, my camera, my purse, cream, and a little bottle of water. all goes in there. It's perfect. I love it. So Elvis and Cress. If you have not heard about them before, you should so look them up. There are some very expensive things on there, but there's also some more affordable ones on there. It's handmade, it's leather. There is a price tag that goes with that, but well worth it, really well made. Okay, I did say about Spotlight. My Spotlight basically is all the resources that I have found so far about kind of life after Ravelry. So I've obviously mentioned Mighty Networks. I have my forums over there, my community over there, and also Faye from the Crochet Circle. Louise Tilbrook's Everyday Knitter is over there now, and there's a few other people, a few of the American podcasters I think are over there as well. The lovely Carrie, who is Craft Geek on Instagram, has written a blog post called Life After Ravelry, so there's a lot of links on there, so I will link to that blog post underneath. She is also combining the putting together the Fibre Indie list, which is all about indie designers who have got their patterns listed somewhere other than Ravelry. So that's a brilliant resource, which I will definitely be making use of. And then I've mentioned this in my One Big July series, the finale, which I'm actually I've not recorded yet, but will probably come out before this one. About what I'm doing kind of to move my stuff away from Ravelry. Apologies for the noise. And in there, I've mentioned Airtable. So Victoria Marchant has created a template that you can download from her blog. Again, I will link that. I am creating something that's a little bit less complicated, and if it's in a fit state to share as a template, then I will do eventually. I haven't quite worked that out yet. I haven't quite finished, to be honest, but that will appear on my Patreon as a public blog post when it's ready. So that's my Spotlight. One last thing before Life Update. On my last podcast 2 months ago, I mentioned a birthday giveaway. Obviously, that giveaway is still running because I've had to move it to Mighty Networks. So it will run again until my next podcast. So I'll put a link to Mighty Networks so you can go and enter yourself into that giveaway. As I said, there are 5 prizes. There's some yarn of your choice from the lovely Lona, who is a Lonely Sock Lady. There is a mini skein set, 50 gram mini skein set from Wild Rose Yarn, and there are 3 patterns. 3 winners will win a pattern each, and I will buy it from you from wherever you want it to, not Ravelry, sorry. So Etsy, Lovecrafts, someone's direct website, that's fine, up to the value of £10. Okay, so yeah, if you do want to go and enter that giveaway, then please do. It's obviously over 2 months since my birthday, but we'll just continue it, let the celebrations continue. I will keep it open for at least another 2 weeks. Okay, life. So Amelia went back to school for 3 weeks, for 3 days a week, which was lovely. Really nice for her to be back at school and to see her friends. We have since then gone back into isolation so that Chris's mum, my husband's mother, could come and stay with us for a week, which was just so nice to see her. We specifically isolated so that she didn't have to social distance from us when we were here, so we formed our own little bubble for a week. Bless her, she didn't go sailing for 2 weeks, which is her, like, sailing to her is like crochet and knitting to me. Like, to ask her to not do that for 2 weeks was a big ask, and she did it, so I'm ever grateful to her, and it was really nice to have some support with Amelia, to just have another adult to chat to in person and to hug, and it was just a really nice week. Since then, we're just carrying on as normal. Not a lot of going out and about. If we are, we're going masked. UK now has masking, which is becoming law and mandatory from the 8th of August. We have put a pause on lockdown as of yesterday, or lockdown easing as of yesterday. The Prime Minister has finally realised that we are in a pandemic and people are dying, and we have the worst excess deaths rate in Europe. We're going to have a visitor. Hello. Hi. There's the microphone. Okay. All right. She's got her iPad. Anyway, so lockdown has been eased, or rather lockdown easing has stopped,
Mommy,
has been paused.
Squeeze me. Bubby, go backwards.
No, darling. Other than that, we're doing all right. I've did some work last week. I've been tutoring, which is always nice. Please don't touch it.
What are we doing, Wade?
Anyway, yeah, trucking along. But as I said, lack of mojo to do anything crafty has been a definite thing. Right, I'm going to go because this person's getting antsy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm sorry it's been so long. I will see you in the next one.